The Democrats' proposal comes days after state Republicans proposed an immediate suspension of the gas tax for 6 months. That proposal failed in a 40-18 party line vote.
Let's bring in one of the California lawmakers who is pushing for this gas rebate. Assemblymember Jesse Gabriel represents the San Fernando Valley. He is a Democrat. Assemblymember, welcome to the show for the first time.
Thank you, Alex. Happy St. Patrick's Day. It's good to be with you.
Thank you very much. All right, so let's go through this. How does this tax actually work? What does this mean for the average person who's watching right now?
Yeah, so the idea here, as you mentioned, is to basically offset the gas tax for the average California consumer for an entire year. And so what we have done in our proposal is we're saying folks are feeling pain at the pump. They're feeling immediate pain. Let's get them immediate relief, and let's send a $400 rebate check to every California taxpayer.
Well, okay, so give us a timeline of when taxpayers will actually be able to get that rebate. And by the way, this rebate would use $9 billion of the state's estimated more than $20 billion surplus.
Yeah, and I think that's an excellent point. You know, we have a historic surplus. I've seen projections of $31 billion, $45 billion. So we would use part of the surplus, the state's surplus, to give it to a rebate to taxpayers to offset gas prices. The timing of this, we're pushing for this as quickly as possible. Obviously, that depends on negotiations. We've been in conversations with the governor, with legislative leadership. You heard the governor in his State of the State address last week talk about putting the cost of gas prices, talk about putting money back in the pockets of California consumers. So there are a lot of people in Sacramento that understand that folks are feeling pain right now. They're really feeling pain at the pump with rising prices. And so we want to work as quickly as possible to get money back in the pockets of California taxpayers.
Quickly as possible. What does that mean? Are we talking a couple weeks? Are we talking a couple months? When are people going to see this money?
I haven't been in Sacramento that long, but I've learned it's hard to make predictions like that. But I would say we're going to try to expedite those conversations. We're just entering our budget season, which is when we do these kind of things. So I'm hoping that we'll have these conversations over the next couple weeks. But maybe even sooner than that, if we can fast track this type of bill to the floor.
You know, the Republicans say there's something that could be a lot simpler and a lot faster, which would be just get rid of the 51-cent gas tax right now. Stop charging everybody for it. It would be immediate relief, and it goes to people that are actually driving. Why is that a bad idea?
Yeah, I mean, I think this proposal is far superior for a couple of reasons. First of all, suspending the gas tax would have severe and immediate consequences on really essential bridge and road repairs. And that's something that they will acknowledge to you when you talk to them. They'll say, you know, well, we should backfill all of that money. So this is something that's really important, and we don't want to undermine our ability to do those critical repairs to roads and bridges. But secondly, and I think this is the more important point, is that there's no guarantee that suspending the gas tax, that savings would actually get passed along to California consumers. There could be market manipulation by oil companies, by gas companies. And so what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are putting the money directly in the pockets of California consumers and not in the hands of oil companies and not in the hands of foreign dictators. So we think for those two reasons, this is a much better proposal that's much more likely to actually help working folks in the state of California.
What about more money, though? I mean, especially given that gas, the average cost of a regular gallon is, what, $1 more already? I mean, it's an unbelievable $5.89 in LA County. And we mentioned that $20+ billion surplus. This is $9 billion of that. Why not give everybody an extra, double it up?
Yeah, and certainly we are having conversations about that in Sacramento, and I want to make it clear that this is without prejudice to other things that we might be able to do with that surplus. And I think there are conversations about how do we give more of that money back to California taxpayers, maybe in a way that's means tested, that's targeted, that we can make sure that we are helping our lowest income folks, those who are really feeling the most pain right now from rising prices. And the other thing we'll talk about is, are we in a position to make some generational investments? Are we able to do some things on climate and homelessness and water and other really big challenges facing the state? So we are facing some real challenges with inflation and rising prices. We also have a historic surplus, and so our proposal is let's act quickly. Let's take the first step, which is to offset the gas tax for a year, and then we can continue those conversations about those other really important priorities.
So essentially, because you guys have such a big surplus, because of this thing called the GAN limit, you have to give some money back anyways, or most likely have to give some money back. Last year, you guys did what was called the Golden State Stimulus. That was $600 for people that earned under a certain threshold. Is this in lieu of that? Is this in addition to that? Could people be getting a second check as well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of proposals on the table right now. That is certainly possible, Alex. We have this historic surplus. We're going to be in a position to return money back into the hands of taxpayers, back into the hands of California residents. And so the idea is, how do we do that in a smart and thoughtful way that is going to help those that are hurting the most, that is going to acknowledge that people are feeling real and immediate pain right now at the pump, and also to maybe make some of those investments in issues that I talked about: infrastructure, clean energy, homelessness, things that are really important here in the state of California. So, as I've been talking about this proposal with folks in Sacramento, we're not really in a situation of either or. Because of the historic size of our surplus, I think we're in a situation of both and. So we want to take immediate action now to help folks with the pain they're feeling at the pump. But that doesn't mean we won't be able to do additional stimulus, additional relief, additional things to help folks who are struggling with inflation.
And just real quickly, because we're over time, why give this to everybody? The Golden State Stimulus was targeted, you said means tested. Why should a billionaire be getting a $400 check from the state?
Well, I think that's a conversation we're going to have. The idea here is that we want to lift up all Californians. Everybody, irrespective of whether or not they're driving long distances, is feeling an increase in prices right now, whether that's food, whether that's rent, whether that's their mortgage. And at the end of the day, this is the voters' money, right? I mean, this is money that taxpayers paid, and we have an obligation to give it back to folks. And so we think that this is an important acknowledgement that everybody is feeling the increase in prices right now. We're going to take this immediate step, and then we can figure out the rest going forward.
Assemblyman Jesse Gabriel out of the San Fernando Valley, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Thanks, Marla. Thanks, Alex. Great to be with you.
Thank you.